Hi there, this is Jeff, the Workspace Wizard, back, and I'm going to share one of my little biases in life, in business. And personally, I believe that the single most important activity in a business is the onboarding. And what I mean by that is specifically, we're going to talk about onboarding of new clients. And yes, I understand you need to have marketing, you need to have sales, but if you don't have a solid onboarding system, how are you going to keep those clients? So I'm going to use the analogy of a leaky bucket. And most people come to me and say, Jeff, I need more leads. I need more marketing. I need more prospects. I need a better sales process. I don't disagree, but the very first thing I look at is the onboarding. And for what it's worth, I've learned this through trial and error, through a lifetime of experimentation. And yes, better marketing brings you more prospects. That's great. I'm not opposed to that. However, when they come to me, do they stay? So then we need to look at our conversion rate, and that means we've got a good marketing system, we've got a good sales system, and we can analyze how many, whatever language you want to use, leads, prospects, etc., actually have sales conversations with us, and then what percentage of those become clients. And I'm going to be honest, in the internet world today, it seems like that's where we stop. We look at the conversion rates, and for the record, world-class salespeople celebrate a 20% conversion rate. So they're happy if 1 in 5 conversations becomes a client. So if you think about that math, that 1 in 5 really becomes someone you want to nurture. And for what it's worth, I'm not talking about manipulation and things like that, but I'm talking about how we can help people, number 1, become better clients, but number 2, understand more about what we do. And then number 3, they will refer others to us because they are going to become raving fans. And there's an old statistic, old study, I can't remember the exact details, doesn't matter, but basically it says it costs 6 to 7 times more to acquire a new client than it does to get an existing client to spend more money. So whether you agree with that math, whether that math is perfectly true today or not, my question is this: we're bringing clients in, and then we accept the fact, and there are industry standards for churn, and we accept the fact that clients just move on. And I would argue that customer success, customer support is as important, if not more important, than marketing and sales. It's kind of like fishing and then do catch and release. If you're going to catch the fish and then throw them out the back of the boat, why are you fishing in the first place? Now, you might be fishing for pleasure. That's okay. But if you're fishing because you're hungry, wouldn't you want to make sure you're keeping the right fish in the boat at the right time? So that's my little rant. Sorry, I get obsessed with onboarding. And by the way, I would apply this same logic to an employee. If you're trying to attract great talent, why wouldn't you want to keep great talent? So I'm working on a proof of concept. And basically my goal is for coaches, consultants, and professionals, I want to demonstrate a measurable return on investment for an onboarding process. And for the record, onboarding is an ongoing thing. Now, back in the day, I am a recovering accountant. Once upon a time, onboarding was you met with the person, you agreed you wanted to work together, you agreed to a price, you gave them an engagement letter, they signed it, and let's get to work. And there's so many things missing there. They don't know what the next steps are. They don't know what to expect. So basically what we want to do is break down onboarding. And for my bias, I go right back to the very first touch, and I treat marketing, sales, and onboarding as a continuous process, not 3 distinct systems. So this is my onboarding assessment, and I'm just going to show you how I use Google. I use the Google Workspace, and I'm going to show you how to build a quality onboarding process within Google. Now, for the record, there's multi-steps in this process. This is step number one. And step number one in my world is helping the user identify if they have the problem that I solve or not. So here's the thing. If somebody doesn't know whether they have a problem with onboarding, they don't need me. So I'm not here to educate everyone. I'm just here to help those who know they have a problem understand it. So they might know that something's wrong. They know that the revenue isn't where it is. They know that their referrals are unpredictable, unreliable, etc. So I start with an assessment. And I'm going to build out my process, and I'm calling it the golden onboarding system. And basically, my premise is that if we build a good onboarding system, it will supplement and augment a good marketing system, a good sales system, and a good client service system. But I'm putting this first because I don't want to waste any time and energy with marketing and sales if I don't know how I'm going to onboard them. Now, this gets a little strange, so bear with me. My entire business is helping other businesses onboard their clients better. So my process is I onboard my clients well, show them what good onboarding looks like, and then we continue to deliver it. And by continuing to deliver value in the onboarding process, I can demonstrate that onboarding by itself is valuable. So that's my premise, my experiment. So here's what we're going to do. So what I did is I created a Google form, and I use numbers in my file name. So this is called 01 Onboarding Assessment. Very unoriginal, not a fancy title. I don't have any beautiful images. I could, but I don't. And basically, there's a short assessment, and the goal is to help somebody understand whether or not they actually have an onboarding problem. So whatever your business is, whatever problem you solve, the first step is, do you have this problem? And then we're going to help them understand if it's serious or not, and maybe help them identify what the next step is. And basically, I did it really simple. I have a 5-point scale. 1 is strongly disagree, 3 is neutral, 5 is strongly agree. And then what I do, once they've completed the assessment, my way of saying thank you is I'm going to share, and it's actually a bit of a misrepresentation. I share 3 levels, and for each of those 3 levels, I share 3 common myths that are getting in their way. I share 3 mistakes they might be making and how to avoid them, and then I share 3 best practices. So I promise 3 by 3 by 3, but I'm actually delivering 9 by 9 by 9. That's a different story. You don't have to do that, but that's just the way my brain works. So I give them a special report to help them understand their challenges first. So basically, they fill out they put in their email, their first name, their last name, and then they just pick the score that fits them. And the very last question is, share anything else you think is relevant. And basically, once I publish this, so I can use this in marketing, things like that. Now, slightly different, but basically, you see, you can't edit it. But this is what they fill in. And this is what I love about Google. This is really easy to do, automatically set up. They fill out the first assessment, and their results come to a spreadsheet. So in this spreadsheet, and again, this is just test data, me testing the setup, you'll see the responses from my form come in here. Now, what I do that is slightly different, so this was just test, so I didn't fill in anything about anything else relevant, but what it does, and I love the way Google Sheets works, it calculates a score, and then based on the score, I have 3 possible data ranges. So in this case, I think the score was 10 to 19 is considered at risk, 20 to 39 is considered inconsistent, and then 40 to 50 is a solid foundation. And this is where it gets really, really powerful. Once Google Sheet scores it and assigns a range, it then sends an email. So this is all done with Google Apps Script. It's all automated. And what the email does, let me see if I can find that. So the email sends out a copy of the special report, and this is all automated. The email is personalized. It says, "Dear first name, thank you for completing our assessment. You got a score of X out of 50. That puts you in this range, which probably means ABC." And then it gives a copy of this report. And what I love is Google Docs. There's many ways I can do this. I could customize this. Right now, I'm just sending out a generic report. And as you'll see, there's a section on how to read the report. And here's the scoring of it. So level 1, if your score is 0 to 19, you're likely losing clients quietly. And as I said earlier, for each level, I share 3 myths, 3 mistakes, and 3 best practices to help them up level to the next level. So what I'm doing is giving them quick wins. And like I said, for each level, I'm giving them 3 times 3 times 3, which is 9 tips. And then overall in this report, they're getting 9 times 3, 27 total. So I'm giving value before we even start working together. And the whole focus of this special report is, as the title says, looking at the power of onboarding and understanding why retention is the real growth engine. And that's it. There's no high pressure sales. Like you'll see over here, there's level 1, level 2, level 3. And then I tell them, here's what comes next. And they may want to do this themselves. That's okay. They may want to do the next assessment. Great. Or they might want to reach out to me directly and say, how do we work together? So the next step, which I will show in another video, is the onboarding cost and urgency assessment. And what I'm doing there, and this is what we do with our clients, is we're helping potential clients understand the cost and the relative cost of status quo, leaving the problem outstanding, a do-it-yourself solution, trying to fix it yourself, or bringing in an expert to help you. And basically, the theory is really, really simple. If it costs more to stay with status quo, people will act. If it costs more to do it yourself, people will hire experts. So we're giving them the tools, and this is exactly as it is. There's no secret to it. We're showing them the relative cost of each of those 3 options: status quo, do it yourself, or hire someone. And we're giving them the tools they need to make the decision which option, if any, is best for them. And by the way, status quo is a perfectly acceptable option. Some people are happy with things the way they are. Do it yourself is, in my world, equally good. If they decide to do it themselves, I've given them 27 tips to keep them on track. But if they want to know more and what it looks like to work with me, then they'll take the next assessment. So that is right now the first step, and I'm just going to show you. So the way my Google Drive, my Google folder looks is I have my old onboarding system. And right now, I've got 7 steps before somebody actually becomes a client. I've used this in paper form. I've used it in various other tools. I'm building them all now in Google Docs, Google Forms, Google Sheets, and Google Drive. So when it's done, you will see 7 steps pre-onboarding, and then I'll have my detailed steps. Here's what I need, here's when I need it, etc. So basically, what I'm doing is giving my clients 1 step at a time. Once the 1 step is done, then they're told what the 2nd step is, and so on. So I'd love your comments. I'd love your feedback. Do you agree or disagree with me that onboarding is one of the most critical aspects of business as a tool for retention and earning referrals? Love your feedback. Thank you.